Okay, good evening and happy Wednesday night to you. Tonight we're talking about the things you might want to consider in the barbering or salon business or any of the relating types of careers or businesses you might want to start, be it a small one or two man show barber shop or a salon that's got 20 or 30 stylists in it. Our host tonight, and reason we're able to have this, is Katie Shorter, who is with us. Hey, Katie, glad to have you on board. And she's the director of the Small Business Center at Pamlico Community College, where they're sporting a brand new sign out front of the building that Katie had fabricated, and it's up looking so good. So thank you, Katie, and all the folks at Pamlico Community College for facilitating this series. My name is Steve Carver. I'm in Dunn, North Carolina. I associate myself with entrepreneurs and friends all over the state, and we call it the Academy. If you're a regular guest at our and participant at our webinars and seminars, I certainly encourage you to become an associate member and join us as often as you can and network as much as you can to promote your business. So many different things that we can help each other do just by opening up our minds and thinking about that. I'm not a lawyer or an accountant, just here offering free advice. Always my first advice is get a second or third opinion before you take a major move, and that leads me right straight back to the small business centers across the state. That's where you can get good, professional, confidential advice without anybody looking over your shoulder or worrying about anyone following up on you. So I encourage you to visit your small business centers. Take advantage of all the help that's available to you there at no charge, and you'll be glad that you did. Our study guides tonight are basically, it's number 971, talking about our topics tonight. That's a study guide that will really give you a lot of good information and show you some potential earnings, ways to figure your potential earnings. So it's a good one to have. If you haven't got that, make sure you mention to Katie in the chat room and she'll email them to you. And there's a second study guide on the ins and outs of profit centers, which are so important to the success of a salon or a barbershop business. Tomorrow night, same time, same place, right here, we're going to be talking about cash flowing and funding and financing a small business. Very important subject. For the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've been kind of more marketing oriented or getting started oriented, and that changes tomorrow night. The next 3 Thursday nights are going to be more about the ins and outs of helping you actually run your business as you get started. Tomorrow night, we're going to talk about cash flowing, funding, financing, how to use a promissory note, lots of good tips about jump-starting cash flow. So I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow night. And that is kind of part 4 and 5 of our series, how to start and grow a better business in 2022, which where you'll be able to earn certain certificates and awards for your attendance and also finishing assignments. Next week on Wednesday night, we're going to talk about how to find and keep the best employees. And absolutely, if you're in the salon or the barbershop business and you got chairs to rent, it is important you understand some do's and don'ts that you want to do to be able to find and keep the very best people to be on your staff. A real secret, a really great tool that I can share with you is the concept of becoming a dream manager. So you'll look forward to that next Wednesday night, whether you've been in business for 50 years or where you're just trying to get started and haven't ever had an employee before. You'll benefit a lot from what we're going to be talking about next Wednesday night. Your homework assignments also are part of your handouts. Those that are working towards joining the Academy and winning awards from Katie and certificates from me. Your homework assignments are out there. Many of you are working hard on them and sending them in. Next week, I do plan to complete the test for this season and start sending those out with the answers. And then later on, I'll send them out without the answers and ask you to fill in the blanks and send them back to me. Everybody makes 100 on Steve's test because they're open book. But I do ask you to make the effort to fill in the blanks yourself. That way I know for sure that you're doing some really good learning. Quickly, let's talk about the folks that's been staying with us through this entire series. Started about 6 weeks ago. I want to give a special shout to Nicole. They're in Alliance. And to Angela, good to see you back on board with us tonight. Thank you for your loyalty and attendance. I hope you're getting lots of good information for your business. Chuck over in Bayboro is doing a great job with his woodworking business, and been doing real steady, made a really great video, and we enhanced it for him. So hopefully he's going to start making money with it. And Keisha Powell, fantastic mom and young lady, getting her businesses started. Thanks for your regular attendance, Keisha. Beverly gets a big round of applause from me and everyone else because she's one of our entrepreneurs that has crossed that major turning point in being able to open her own business. So this week I was so delighted to get this little poster from Beverly that she's putting on Facebook. And Katie, I can't wait to see your pictures or videos that maybe y'all took at the grand open. And if you can share those with me, that I can include them either tomorrow night or later, I'll surely do that. Did you want to say something?
Nope.
Okay. So did you hear what I said? If you can share anything with me, I can put on our program tomorrow night. I'll do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to edit the video now. It might not be till next week, but I'll get it to you.
All right. Hey, Christina, good to have you on board. Thank you for your attention. I'm looking forward to seeing you again in person. I'm so proud of the great work that you're doing. Jimmy Packard usually signs on with us a little late. Jimmy has actually been in the barber business for maybe 25 years, but has determined that he's going to really grow it and has just started making some major moves this week. I can tell you he's contracting to get his own website up, doing remodeling in the store, bringing in lots of additional products, which I'll talk about later. I've just been amazed. I've been going in and out of these shops for so long, but this past weekend I spent time counseling with Jimmy and thought about the different products he can bring in. We've been kind of focused on beauty products and barber shop products, but looking at Jimmy's store and in his unique position, he's in a position there to sell everything from sports shoes to sunglasses to leather products in that barber shop, and do a really good job with it. A lot of our salon owners pay their rent and their utilities and even more with the profits they make from product sales. Sarita's starting her website up. She's been really busy the last few weeks growing her business, so I'm looking forward to hearing from her. Probably be with us tomorrow night. Rayford Wells doing the same thing. He's improving his trucking situation so he can serve more customers. And Tom's been with us all along the way. Looking forward to talking with Tom. Matter of fact, we may have a customer I can send to him to maybe get started on a website. Looking forward to that as well. So if you're with us tonight, Sonia, and you get your business up and running and you want to be part of this board, please send me some photographs, a little information about yourself. Join our associates here, and we'll try to network and help each other all the way. So send me the info. I'll do all the advertising I can for you. Video introductions, I need to see them keep coming. I can't get enough of them, so let's keep that going. Now, let's talk about the barbershop and the salon. Whatever business you're in, no matter what it is, there's about 8 strategies that'll make all the difference in the world as to whether or not you're going to make it or not make it, or whether or not you're going to grow and have a business that you can grow and grow and grow and have several salons, several barbershops, actually retire yourself and let the other people do the work while you move on to pursue other things. But here's some things that I want you to know that we're going to talk about tonight. Getting started, it's up to you to establish an earnings goal. We can't build a business plan for you or show you how to build a business plan until you have set an earnings goal at your shop. I'll show you how that comes together a little bit later, but the business plan is not about just take what comes your way. It's building a plan to help you achieve your objective. All that is so important depending on how much time you're willing to put in the shop itself to make it work. and we'll pull it down to you got to be there a certain number of hours to earn a certain amount of money, and that'll come through so profound when we look at the scheduling issues a little bit later on. How much are you going to charge for your different types of services? Higher or lower makes not a lot of difference, but the volume that you can bring through your shop is a lot more important sometimes than the individual costs that you're doing. In the long term, it's the volume of business that you bring through, the number of chairs you have in the shop that you're renting and keeping busy, add up to what that year-end total is for the amount of revenue that you've generated. The volume of customers coming through, whether they're paying a high price or a lower price for the service they're actually getting there, is the volume of customers that buy the volume of extra products. And the real profit, the easiest profits you can make is selling the extra profits from the revenue generators. And then, no matter how much is coming in, I don't guarantee you there's going to be some going out. And we have to consider what is our cost of doing business when we're getting ready to spend money on a website or remodeling or buying new chairs or advertising. We have to keep in mind that we certainly can easily spend more than we're bringing in, therefore creating a negative cash flow. So this has to be kept in focus. It's just not, I don't be a stylist and I don't make people feel good about how fine they look. That's certainly important for the image that you give to your customer. But as a business person, and that's what I'm here to do, is to help you focus on your business, we have to always keep in mind there is a cost of doing business that must be factored in with everything that we do. So what are the vital signs now? The vital signs, just like you go to the hospital, they check your vital signs. Let's talk about the vital signs of the salon or pretty much any other small business, but particularly these I focused out for salons. One, you got to keep your credit worthiness and your credit lines in good shape. Your personal reputation, your personal credit information, how you've treated people and paid your bills in the community through the years will have a lot to do with whether people, excuse me, your reputation in the community, credit-wise, will have a lot to do with whether people come and do business with you or not. Folks, especially in small eastern North Carolina communities and all over the country in small towns, they remember when folks don't pay their bills, and they're less apt to send other folks to see you. So you have to protect your credit reputation. If you don't get the best deal on a lease, if you don't get the best deal on your insurance, if you don't get the best deal on your car payment, it's important that you keep your credit score as high as possible. Now, if you need tips on improving your credit score, go to the chat board and ask me to send you a free study guide on how to start improving your credit score very easily just by doing a few important things. Number two, you're going to need a group of loyal, what we call raving fan customers. Customers that are loyal to you and you're loyal to them, and they will keep coming back to see you. That base is what gives you the stability you want in business. This is true whether you're a barber or a stylist renting a chair from someone else, because that chair is your business and that customer base is important to you. You want to keep a database, that is, you want to keep a list of email addresses and cell phone numbers so that you can reach out and stay in touch with as many potential customers as you can. And in this business, it is so much important. I just got to say that maybe it should have been number one, but when you have an empty chair or empty slots in your schedule, your customer database is how you can fill it up very quickly and very easily, which we'll talk about later. Staying in front of your customers is important, and you can't be there physically, so how are you going to do it? You're going to do it through social media and through email to keep reminding these folks that you're here, you're working, you're hungry, you need their regular business, and you need folks to recommend other folks to come and see you. So continuous promotions, keeping fresh bait in the water, is one way that you're going to be able to stay in business for a long time. This is the first time I don't mention it. You're going to hear it a lot tonight. The glue that holds most very successful barbershops and salons together, the glue that makes it happen, the glue that makes them profitable and their owners actually are able to build up a good savings account and make some money or go out and invest in other things, is that they have the ability to forecast and to generate upselling opportunities. They have the vision and the courage and the forecasting skills to say, you know, I think I can put this or that in my store and I'll be able to sell it. The key is selecting the right products, making sure you don't put non-perishables up there, and building a business around your product sales, that the item that brings the customers in the store is your services, but you're bringing them in there to buy your services, but they're buying a lot more there, and that's where your profitability really starts going up. Barbershops today, with so many men growing beards, the beard product business is a big time. When I was sitting at the barbershop the other day counseling with Jimmy, I noticed that several gentlemen came in and were really excited to see that he had beard oils and wax and different types of treatments for their hair, and just started taking it off the shelf. Jimmy said he was surprised. He had ordered in cases of these things, and in just 1 or 2 days, a lot of them have been sold, and we're at 3 times. That's 3 times the profit. If he paid $20 for it, he's selling it for $60. If he paid $5 for it, he's selling it for $15. So he's applying that 3 times rule we've been talking about all along, and it's working really, really well. So I know it works for him. I think it'll work for you as well. You want to have all 3 different kinds of profit centers working for you. There's 3 different kinds, Sonia. There's profit centers that bring in new traffic. And you want new customers because you'll lose a third of your customers every year. It's important that you bring in new customers. So you'll do things that encourage folks to come in the first time. That's new traffic builders. Number 2, you want continuous business. You want to be offering products and service and loyalty to your customers because you want them to keep coming back. If you're going to do schedule appointments and such as that, you want to make sure that before they leave, you've got their name in the book for the next time they're coming. Encourage folks to come back and bring other folks with them. Always do that. So that's to bring back continuous business. And lastly, I want your business to generate some big ticket sales, to do some big ticket numbers. Several folks have told me that they have good contracts with funeral homes and mortuaries where they go and do the final preps for folks that have passed and have a good, really lucrative contract doing that. I hear folks about going to weddings on weekends and the barbers looking after all the groomsmen and the stylists looking after all the bridesmaids and other guests that are there. Getting a good, all expenses paid plus a good tip and getting paid well for your general services. Look for ways to get those big ticket items. There's 3 different kinds of profit centers, but I want you to have at least 5 of them working all the time for you. If you've got 5 good ways to generate income, I can almost assure you in this business you're going to have a good future as long as you stay healthy and stay there to manage it and work at it. The more profit centers you have, no matter how large or small your shop or salon is, the more profit centers you have, the more money you're going to have in your pocket. Now take a minute to look at this slide, because in this type of business, I think there are more easily recognized, very affordable, and easy to choose different types of services and products that you can sell at your business for folks that will be glad you've got it there. And listen, you'll have a captured audience. You'll have a captive audience. If they're sitting in your chair and you've got them there for 30 minutes to an hour to soft sell these items, you will become a great salesman and be making some really good profit. So maybe it's just hair you're thinking about doing, but you know, there's a lot of people that are still interested in tanning. A lot of people want their nails done, needling, body wraps, massages, wax removal. The list goes on and on and on. So you might have a salon that has a 2 or 3 stylists and also 4 or 5 other type of contractors there that are making money for you. Each and every one of the chairs that you have, which I don't say have artists in them, each of those artists bring in new customers and new opportunities for product sales. And you're going to learn to share your profits with these different stylists. The more they help you sell, the more that they can make as well. Hey, that rhymed, didn't it? The more they help you sell, the more they can make as well. Kind of all gets back into life, you know. It gets back to about attitude. And attitude is kind of like a flat tire. If you got a flat tire, you can't go anywhere, can you? No, you can't go anywhere till you change it. And if you've got a shop full of people that has bad attitudes, it's never going to go anywhere. Sometimes you're better off to leave it and go somewhere else and start anew. But if bad attitudes exist either within you or within your team, it's got to be changed for things to improve. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you might be the best stylist or barber in the land, or you might have the best ability to run a real estate business where you're renting barber chairs or stylist chairs. But the business of small business has to come in here first for your business to actually work. So there's some things that you need to work at, and that's why I want to encourage you to come to our various webinars and seminars, go through the whole series, earn a certificate, and you'll have a good basis of doing your business. You'll have a basis of understanding to give you self-assurance and self-confidence to move forward. So tonight I just want to focus on 1 or 2 business phrases. I want to bore you with that. I want you to come to our other webinars to learn that or ask for our study guides. But our business in the salon and barbershop business, my business, in the business I'm doing right now in doing entrepreneur training, is to make them feel important. You have to make your customers feel like they're the most important people in the room, because they are. Yeah, we've got our own self-value, but let me tell you, our business depends on customers being there, and we have to generate the smile, the things that we say, the welcome, the hospitality, to make them feel important, and there's no doubt about it. So tonight I'll be speaking about a lot of different ways that we can make that customer feel important, so that once they do, and you're talking to them and there's a give and take going on, you're creating a relationship. And that's where your Raven Fan customers begin, with personal relationships that you make with your customers. Now, folks come to these webinars and seminars with a lot of different situations with the crews and teams at salons and barbershops. Everyone's got a different situation. So whether you're brand new, just renting a chair from a shop owner, or maybe you're ready to rent your own shop and bring in some other people with you. Or sometimes folks want to partner with other folks they're in school with, so that when they get out, they're at a turning point and will start figuring out how 2 or 3 of them can go in together and start a salon. Or maybe you don't want to be a salon, a stylist or a barber. You just want to own the shop, or maybe several shops, and rent those chairs out to the stylists and the barbers. There's nothing wrong with that, because owning a salon and a barbershop is a whole lot like just being a real estate rental agency, renting space, the space or the chairs. The beauty of it is, though, and the reason a lot of people do this, and I mean a lot of people do it, is that the beauty of this is that you get to make a little bit of money off each one of the chairs, but you get to make a lot of money off of the product sales. So that's exactly the reason that folks get into the salon and barbershop business in the long run. Maybe you want to buy an existing shop, and that's a good thing to do, because anybody that's over 65 years old is looking forward for someone saying, hey, you want to buy my shop? I'm ready to talk about it. And it all comes to play because always in our webinars, I encourage you to own a business one day that you can sell to someone in the future when you are just ready to hang it up, or life's circumstances say I need to sell, always have a business that you can sell. The good news is a barbershop or a salon that's successful with a good customer base, a decent location, a good reputation, is a business that can be sold very, very quickly. So just keep that in mind as well. The three magic words for long-term stability at your barbershop or salon is by the way. By the way. And when the owners of the salons and barbershops and the barbers and the stylists have come to these seminars and webinars, sometimes as many as 5 or 6 times, they say to me, it finally sunk in, Steve. I finally took your advice and started thinking by the way and started adding new profit centers at my business, and I cannot believe what my profits are doing simply by having the ability to say, and by the way, I have forecasted these other products are here for you, and you can pick it right up, pay for it, and carry it out with you. Make sure if you don't get a tattoo tomorrow, get by the way tattooed across your forehead. Part of being successful is to keep your employees happy. So part of happiness in most large salons and a few barbershops, and it needs to be everyone needs to have a rental agreement, an actual agreement in writing about what goes and what don't go with it when you're renting a chair from me in my barbershop or me in my salon. Let's nail down all the issues, because understandings help you avoid misunderstandings. And you do that with having a written agreement. Now, there's some sample forms in your handout. You can order other sample forms, or you can generally go to a large salon or barbershop, and they got them right there by the sheet because they have people coming and going all the time. Make sure you are operating with rental agreements when you're renting your booths or renting your chairs to folks. Another important factor from the legal side is the consent and waiver certificates that you'll have your customers to sign when you're putting those color or different types of chemicals on people's hair and or on their skin. You want to make sure you're protected and that client signed that they are allowing you to do this and relieving you of the responsibility. Also, you want to be very familiar with how to do the patch test. Stay on top of that game, because if you don't know what new medicine someone's taking that they hadn't been taking before, maybe you're putting the same chemical on them for years, but now they're on some type of new medicine, and it may have an adverse reaction to them. So that's why you do these patch tests. Be aware of this. This isn't something you do every 5 or 6 times the customer comes in and gets a chemical treatment or a color treatment. It's something that you do every time they do it, and you just make it so natural. The minute they sit down, you knew they were coming in for color. You automatically had the clipboard in front of them, show them where to sign, what to check, do the different tests, and on with your business. This because it needs to be a second nature to you, not something special, just something that we need to do. Now, what are the cornerstones to success in the salon or the barbershop or in your individual? Because you may be operating a single chair at home, but still these things still make a major play. The number one is you want to make sure that you are aware of the customer expectations they have when they're coming to you as a business. And you want to set those customer expectations at a high plateau. In other words, you want the standards there so that when people are coming to your business or are recommended to you, they will get a high professionalism degree of service and a very sincere welcome when they come in. That sincere welcome is the door opener to a relationship. And after that, what's going to keep them coming back? It's going to be the value-added enhancements. What extra are you doing that other places do not? What value are you offering that other places do not put an importance on? That's why you'll be in business when other people are gone. One of the things is to keep the wait time as short as possible. Try to have enough staff on board to keep the wait time down low. And more places now, salons and barbershops, are bringing in assistants to help the stylist or the barber do certain jobs, whether it's clean up or sanitize or actually do nails, actually do the hair washes before you get the service, to help with drying, to assist in a lot of different ways. As a matter of fact, I was told recently at a salon that most of the operators in there were sharing one helper, and by doing that, they were able to see 1/3 more people during the course of a day. Really easily paying for the cost of the assistant, and also increasing the profitability for everyone, but mainly keeping the wait time down for their clients, because that's what they don't want to do. They want to come in at this prescribed time, get their services done, and be gone at a prescribed time, because it seems like everybody's got a schedule to keep these days. So keep that in mind. What are you doing, or what will you do to keep the wait time as short as possible? Scale your business at the right expectations so that your customers will keep coming back. You want them to have those expectations in such a way that when they leave, they are satisfied. When the customer comes in and there's a large group of people coming, or whether there's no one in there or a large group, the first words out of your mouth need to be, "I'm so glad to see you. Let me look at my watch. We'll probably have you in this chair in 5 more minutes, or it may be 30 minutes, or you might start out saying, look, we had an emergency today. I'm running a little bit behind. I've got you scheduled to be here now, but it's actually going to be, say, 45 minutes from now. If you have some other business you can run in the meantime, I will hold this slot for you, and you can come back." If you know you're behind, what you don't want to do is to disappoint the customer by not telling them. Anyone can have an accident. Anyone can get off schedule. The key is being truthful up front, because if they don't want to sit there and just read a magazine or chit-chat with the person they're sitting beside, maybe they have some important work they could do on their laptop or their computer or something like that while they're waiting. Which brings on a value-added example right there. You know, a soft drink or a glass of tea or a cup of coffee, a chocolate chip cookie, Wi-Fi, all comes in mighty handy when people are sitting there wishing they were, because you're running late and they feel like they're wasting their time. Give them a reason to be able to relax and maybe take care of some business on their phone or their laptop. The stress level you have for your employees means that you have to stress to everyone how important it is to give that friendly greeting when someone comes in. And we get into team play here that's very, very important. You know, a smile doesn't cost a thing. So whoever's closest to the door, whichever operative, barber, or stylist is closer to the door, part of that chair rent is it's your job to look up and look everyone in the eye that comes in the door, give them a big smile and a welcome. Just automatic, not fake. Just, I'm glad to see you. Thanks for coming on in. And maybe the person that they actually are looking for to give them services down the line a little bit, you might say, I'll let so-and-so know you're here and we'll check their schedule. But the first person that a customer greets, if you don't have a receptionist at your door, the first chair closest to the door needs to be charged with the duty of welcoming everyone that comes in the door and giving them some type of time notice on how long they're going to have to wait. This barber here in Dunn, this is Bill. He actually sits outside sometimes on the sidewalk and greets customers as they come in. Pretty cool habit, and is becoming a fixture in town. Value added. Value added is those little things that you can do that make the customers feel extra special. It's that extra 5 or 10 seconds you might do massaging a customer's scalp while you're giving them a wash and a rinse. It might be a few seconds extra that you massage their shoulders, just to be saying, okay, I appreciate you being here. How does this feel? Sometimes that's all the difference in the world in whether the customer really loves you and plans to come back, and also whether or not they recommend other folks to come and see you. I know it has a lot to do with how the quality of the tip or extra money that they pay, because I experienced that myself, and most everyone I talk to attests to that. But you've got to be willing to feel good about it. You got to make sure you feel good about the massage. Ask the customers if they're enjoying it. It might even be a little time around the temple. That's not doing anything but giving a professional, highly professional, value-added treatment to your customer every time you get a chance. How long does it take? 15 seconds, maybe at the longest. How long does it last? A lifetime of business. So it's very, very important. So the other value-added enhancements might be the trims that you give it nose and ears and eyebrows. That certainly makes men 99% happy, and I'm sure the ladies appreciate it too. The extra little packages that you can give that keep raving fan customers coming back is so very important. What you want to do, our goal is, remember what our goal is that customer that's leaving the store. You want them delighted with the service they got, so that they walk out saying, I can't wait till I get to come back, let me make an appointment, or the next person I see down the street, I don't be bragging on you. In the business of barbering and saloning, you're looked at, you are regulated by the North Carolina government. The Board of Cosmetology in Raleigh is an organization that sets the rules, offers license, gives training, has schooling, frequently asked questions, but mainly they have inspectors. So if you own a salon, or if you just operate your own salon, one chair, the inspectors are going to come and check you out. Now, you already had to know this if you've got a license, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're thinking about getting into it, you must go ahead and visit this website for the Cosmetology Board of North Carolina. It is full of all the do's and the don'ts and things you need to know. And these people are very strict. They don't have much of a sense of humor. They can open you up and they can close you down, whether it's a salon or whether or not it is a barber. The Barber Board has exactly the same responsibilities. They regulate and manage licensing. They set up rules for sanitation and do's and don'ts for barbers. They do the same thing. Year before last, there was a move in the legislature to combine the two groups. And it got along the way a little bit for one reason or another. They decided not to go forward with it. So at this point in time, we still got two different boards. If you are a stylist doing stylist type work, salon type work at a barber shop, or vice versa, a barber working at a salon, you need to make sure that you are checking off all the blocks from both boards, because you're intermingling there, and you may have some requirements that the other stylists or barbers in the shop don't have. So make sure you check your credentials there with everybody to make sure that you're staying legal. That's very important for you. It's a part of your expertise and your ability to market what you're doing. Let's talk about some things to consider. Of course, that outside image is always important. Different people approach it different ways. Just be different, be dramatic, show a good image when you're doing it. But here's the thing that, as an individual person, I want you to think about. I want you to balance it. Your vision and the balance of how you do things is important, especially in this work, because it can be all-consuming. I would think that with the individuals I know, that barbering and salon work are one of the few businesses now that you can pretty much leave it at the shop when you leave, and that's a good thing, unless you're doing your work at home in a home studio. But you can have a separate life in this work, very easily and manageable if that's what you elect to do. And you can actually have a manager that helps you with your book work and other things that you might have to do after hours. However, this is a great career pretty much that you can take vacations, that you can take some time off, that you can set your hours to suit your needs. If you're a hunter or a fisherman, I know a number of barbers that maybe they set that time aside on certain days of the week and do their work great. Very seldom are shops open on Sundays, most always on Saturday, but very seldom on Sunday. And a lot of shops in Central and Eastern North Carolina actually close on Mondays, so they take Sundays and Mondays off. But depending on what you're doing, you can set your own schedule if you've got a clientele that works for it. So look at what your vision is for where you want to be, say, in 5 years. What is your dream? How large do you want your clientele to be? Are you going to be happy just operating with your group of customers in the one chair that you're renting or leasing or own? Or do you want to expand your possibilities and own a lot of chairs, rent those chairs to other people, and start building up a full-scale business with employees? You don't need to be intelligent about it and approach it in certain ways, but you don't know which way to go until you set those dreams and goals in place. What skills are you going to need? Yeah, you're going to need to know what's going to make you special as a stylist or a barber. What special skills do you have? Because here's a key importance. The strength of your business will have a lot to do with the expertise and the things that you do better than other people. What are you an expert at? What is your trade style? What brand names can you bring to play on what you're bringing? Different styles, colors, curling, inserts, the actual fabric of your work. When you can be special in that and you can market your specialties, then your value is going to go up, because people will not be able to get this particular thing that you're doing anywhere else. So let that be even from day one as you're getting started. How can you be more special in certain areas, and how can we promote that? That's on the barbering and stylist side. But on the business management skills, it takes just as much expertise. What are you going to be really good at? To be scheduling? Is it going to be money management? Is it going to be forecasting? Is it going to be marketing and merchandising? See, all these are very important. So on the business management side, I want to encourage you to really get involved with the small business centers and our webinars and seminars, because you can pick up at no charge. You can pick up a lot of different skills and good information to help you grow your business. And now, how much time do you want to give to the work? I want to tell you that if you're not at that chair, you're not making money at it, and you know that as well as I do. So having that schedule, work it out that suits your life, plus suits the growth potential you want for your business, that balance has a lot to do with how far we go forward. Whether it's this type of business or any other, in today's world, a business plan, or at least a business model or a planner, is critical for moving forward in the right way. So I'm going to spend a little time talking about that, which really will have a lot to do with how far you go forward with your income and your revenues that you're able to go forward. Number one, why do you want a business plan? You want it to give you the information you need now before you invest your time and talents and treasures. In other words, let's do some research to find out where you're headed in this. If you're going to borrow money and you don't have investors, which people you borrow money from are your investors, you need to have information for them to determine before they're going to invest in your business. And one of the things they're going to want to see is your business plan and your forecast. You want a document mainly, though, for you to help you chart a course of what you want to do now, next month, the month after, a year after next, and on down the line. A business plan that I like to ask people to do is kind of a roadmap to where we want to go in the future. Without that, you're just drifting between the walls, just going down the river from one side of the bank to the other, and sometimes not moving at all. So having a charted course is important. I like to always work with at least a 6-month planner. So, and we'll do that in our business plan seminars. So want you to make sure that you're encouraged to come and participate in that. But what are the increments of a business plan? It's really simple. There's two parts to every business plan that we put together. One part is estimating your expenses. The other part is estimating your income. We estimate the expenses by looking at all the different types of expenses, everything from rent to products that we use, to our light bill, our phone bill, our car bill, all the different things you'll spend money for. But on the income side, this is where it's critical. On the income side, we have to determine how many appointments per day are we willing to schedule, and if we're doing that, what is the average cost per appointment, average that out, and then determine if I see X number of people per day, I'll bring X amount of income in. Once we do that, we can add up all our expense modules, then we can add up all of our income modules, subtract the expense from the income, and we'll know what's left. And that's what's left is what a business plan is all about. Now, what's left, hopefully, will be that goal that you set earlier, so that our business plan is helping you reach your goals. Now, if it doesn't, after we add them up, then we know we either, number one, have to cut some expenses, or number two, have to add some customers coming in, or number three, start adding some products to sell and make up the difference in product sales. And you know what? Fairly simple, similar formula, but it certainly does work. For the folks that are brand new and young folks that are just getting started in our audience tonight, doesn't play into that too well, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But for folks that are in cosmetology school and at barber school who might be watching this at some later date, let's spend just a minute here. A business plan to a business is very much like that budget that your mom and dad encouraged you to start when you first were in high school or starting to get out on your own in college. So let's look at maybe a sample budget that all of us might have been working at while we were in school. Maybe you were still getting an allowance of $30. Everybody looking on the left-hand side here at the black ink. Got an allowance for $30. I was working some part-time jobs where I bought in another $75 and $52 and $60 a week. So generally on average week, I was generating about $217 of income. And over on the right-hand side, I had car expenses and went to some ball games and had a flat tire, had some school projects, always gave some money to the church. So I was spending on average about $144 a week. Therefore, I had $72 left over for special things or for savings. We all went through a budget like this at some point in our life. Maybe the numbers were larger or smaller, but we always had to keep up with our numbers if we were responsible with money. It's the same thing with your business. Whether you're operating, especially if you're just operating one chair now, you have to keep up with your income and expenses. In that case, if we were that teenager that we were talking about earlier, we would have saved about $289 a month, maybe about $1,100 a year, just by having a simple budget. The important thing is we were trying to manage and keep up with our expenses and our income, forecasting how it would go. By doing this, even looking back a number of years, you can see right now how important it is that forecasting over a period of time with your experiences can give you a pretty real judgment of what's going on. So now let's move out of that yesteryear into today's year and think about what are we going to need for our business plan now. First of all, we know how to figure out what our cost of getting started is, and that'll be a whole module and expense model of what's it going to take to get us our lease, to get our permits, our fixtures, and our furniture, to bring in some staff and get them up and running, uniforms for them. We don't have to have some products. We've already determined that. So how much are we going to invest in our inventory? Got to have some signage. What's that going to cost? And when we open up our business, we're going to have to do a little bit of marketing. All of these are investments in the future. So, and I know they're just guesstimates right now. We just have to put some numbers down, but it's important to put those numbers down so that you're not shocked as they come together and you don't open up until you're ready. You can get good numbers on how much your furniture and fixtures cost just simply by going online. There's websites after website that show you sale pricing, and you can get some really good deals here. This is one place I'll mention that don't be so chancy and cheap that you try to buy the cheapest stuff possible when you're looking at trying to make your customers comfortable. The more comfortable your customers are and the better they feel, the more likely they're going to come back to see you. So if you're buying a chair for that customer to sit in time after time after time, you want to make sure it is a good chair and go the extra mile there and let them know you did it for them, because that customer's rear end is your asset when it's sitting in your business. It's important to your business. You make sure that they're very comfortable when they're doing it. All different types of products, you can estimate your costs really well. And because a lot of baby boomers, first people my age and younger, are going out of business and selling their business, I understand there is a pretty good array of used equipment, used furniture and fixtures from barber shops and salon available out in the marketplace, and I'll be glad to help you spot some of those if you want to do it. So sometimes you don't have to buy new, but can pick up some really good equipment, pennies on the dollars. You know, also, every time a barbershop or a salon that's maybe going out of business because the shopping center is closing down, sometimes that stuff is just left for anyone who wants to come and get it at a minimum salvage cost just to clean out the whole shop. It's a good way for someone new to get started with some used equipment. So, what does that business model look like? Right back to where we started at on our first slide. Coming up with what your earning goals are, figuring out how much time you're going to put in the shop, how much time you're going to spend scheduling, what are you going to charge for your services, what are the profit centers going to be, and weighing that against your estimated cost. Number one rule, let's get a menu up. Let's list down what you plan to offer, the different services that you plan to offer, and put a price tag on them so customers can see them. What you're doing is creating a menu that not only you can put in the store, but you can also advertise in social media and in your email. And certainly don't be ashamed to put together some high-ticket items, because people will want that and will want to pay it. Notice on this menu, you have some items over on the right-hand side as low as $7, but over on the left-hand side, look at that groom's package. Look at our 5 people minimum. That's a $400 package. So that's a great example of what I'm talking about when I say plan ahead to offer some new customer incentives and plan ahead to have some big ticket sales as well. One of the greatest ways to do that is to have a lot to choose from with your that package of material. Jamie Packer, I see you on board with us tonight. I'm so glad you're here. We've been talking about you a little bit, and I've told everyone how proud we are of you for what you're trying to achieve there. So thanks for being with us. Now, how are you going to make money, and what is your earnings potential? What is the earnings potential? Folks coming out of school sometimes don't have a clue what they can do. They just think they can make it all right. Well, the directors of the different schools asked me to put together some way to show folks the real numbers, and this is very realistic. And if you follow me here and have it on your handout, you can see how it works. I've taken a stylist and a barber and went through their day's work to try to come up with an example of what kind of earnings that you might be able to appreciate. So let's start with the stylist coming to work at 9 o'clock in the morning and working through 12:45 with several different appointments at different values, doing different services for folks. In other words, this stylist generated $290 for the morning's work. In the afternoon, she started back at 1:15 and worked all the way to 8:30. It's a pretty long day. She picked up $480 in the afternoon's work. Seeing what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different clients, picked up $480. So that day's work for her $2.90 in the morning, $4.80 in the afternoon. She generated $770 for that day's work. Not a bad day's work, right? $770 for that day's work. The barber, on the other hand, he has to see more people to generate that much money because generally he doesn't charge quite as much. So let's talk about the barber who had customers paying him anywhere from $8 to $50 for different types of services from 7:30 to 12:30, and he was rolling people in and out. No doubt about it, rolled them in and out. But for his morning work, he generated $320. In the afternoon, saw a lot of people again, had to smile and talk with a lot of people. But at 7:30, he closed up and had put $275 in his pocket for the afternoon work. So what did he do? $320, $275, $595 for the day's work. Pretty good day's work, right? So now, let's kind of put it together so we can move forward. So I added the barber and the stylist incomes together for $680, and then divided it. Well, basically, look here what I did. I took out, their average was $680. I took out 55%. Because I know that someone that's brand new is going to have a hard time starting out with a 100% schedule. So 55% I think is very realistic. That means if you're working 45% of the time, your average daily income would be around $300, $306 when we adjust it. And if you work 5 days a week, that means your average weekly income would be around $1,530. This is an average, but so many barbers and stylists and salon owners say this is right on the money, working 45% of the time. Across North Carolina, chair rent varies quite a bit, but on average in the metro areas of Charlotte, Greensboro, Raleigh, chair rent now is a little more, some in places around $250 per week, on an average $235 probably. And as you move down from smaller towns, smaller rural settings, the chair rent may drop down as much as $100. Recently, barbershop teachers and salon owners are telling me that bottom line now is more like $150 average across the state. So I'm going to use $160 average. So thinking that I'm going to be paying $160 a week chair rent if I do that. Now, if you own a salon, and you're bringing in chair rent from, let's see how many people here. Well, I'm just not sure how I did that. Weekly revenue for the salon owner is bringing in an estimate of $1,370 per week on chair rent. Okay, here we go. That's for 48 weeks. This salon owner had 7 chairs. There it is, 7 chairs. So the salon owner had $1,370, $65,700 in rent. Also, no, I've got that backwards. The salon owner bought in $65,700 for her work, for his or her work, and for chair rent, 6 chairs, and plus using her own, bought in $49,920 from chair rent. So that's someone that owned the salon. In doing that, that $65,000 they earned, $49,000 they bought in from rent. But look here. With 7 operators selling an average of $150 worth of product a week, and them keeping 30% of the profit, paying the operators 10 or 15%, the salon owners ended up with an extra $17,000 from product sales. $17,000. Now keep in mind here, that is a total income of $133,260. But what you got to remember is this is working 45% of the time. Remember, I took out 55% of the potential revenue. Just remember, this is operating in low gear, still having that type of income projection. Now, the individual operator that owned that salon got to figure out what's left, because all that money is not profit. Remember, there's a cost of doing business. So to bring in that $133,000, and are you listening carefully now, Jimmy? I've got some big numbers here for you. The shop rent's got to be paid. The utilities have got to be paid. The insurance has got to be paid. The marketing, $6,000 worth's got to be paid. That's the money you'll spend on websites and other types of marketing. Payment, let's say you borrowed money to buy those shares or to do some remodeling, that's got to be paid back. And so we'll pay back that debt. Plus, you're going to have just a general cost of doing business. So to earn that $133,000, you're going to have to spend about $63,900, which means what's left? $69,000 is what's left. Wow, that took a big bite out, didn't it? Well, let's see how that syncs up. So the person that was just renting the chair earned $65,700. The person that owned the shop and did all that other stuff earned $69,300. So all those numbers to come to this one point that I want you to consider. Some of us will say, I just want to rent the chair because I'd rather give up that $4,000 and not have to put up with all the stuff that the shop owner did. I understand that. And if some folks aren't made for management and taking risk, you can run your own chair at 45% capacity and still have the earnings in the $65,000. If you boost that up to 100% capacity, you'll be well over 100,000. I mean, well over 100,000, more like 150. But you can own your own shop and boost that up. You automatically boost your share up to around $250,000 by owning your own shop. Why is that? Because not only are you going to earn more income, but you're going to bring in so much more in product sales, it's going to be incredible for you. See, the more you do, the more it multiplies for you. Things get bigger, they mushroom as you move forward. But there's other factors to consider. This isn't the whole picture. I don't want to pretend that it is, because each person will be different. Your personal expenses may vary. Your insurance issues, your tax issues may vary. How are you handling your bookkeeping expenses and risk management, exit planning? Maybe you're setting aside enough for an exit plan one day, and maybe all of what you're doing is all about building a business to sell it. There is an industry in the United States that does specifically opens up barbershops, grows them, and to sell them to people that like to come in for an established shop to own it as a business. It's a good thing to do. It's a good business to be in. The more profit centers you have, again, the more money in your pocket. But there are some significant unknowns in this world. Let's talk about those. These are questions that you'll have to answer yourself. I can't answer them for you, and they're very, very important. Setting your schedule and how many days and hours you're going to work each week is going to be very important, because you need to be there if you own the shop to look over your shoulder and be the team leader for everyone else. You need to be looking after what other folks are doing and how your customers are being treated, whether you're serving a customer or not. If you just don't rent the chair and be there, it's important that you know that being there means you get to set up, you need to take care of walk-in business and have a chance to create a relationship for continued business. So let's say you don't have anyone scheduled to meet. It's still important that you go to the shop, that you be in that chair, that you greet other customers coming in, and that's where you do your marketing. That's where you use your database. That's where you figure out other ways to bring customers in, or that's where you do your learning and your training, whether it's online or watching other operators do what they do. It's all a learning process, and just because you don't have to be at the shop doesn't mean you don't have to be at the shop, because there's certain things that are going on there that will help you build your business, whether you have someone in the chair or not. You're going to need revenue from each client, and you're going to need to learn how to manipulate the different profit centers to help you as an individual or your salon make a lot more money by selling more products. And what's the main way to do that is to use the words, and by the way, we've got this and we got that, and you've got it on the shelf there. Keep up with your shop location and the lease and the utility costs. Make sure everything is in line there. Think about your marketing factors. Are you letting people know where you are, that you are accepting walk-ins? Very important. How many chairs do you have? Can your business grow in the location you're at? Or maybe you're in a shop that can handle 2 chairs right now, and it's doing really well. But if you really try to grow your business, you don't have any way to grow it. Well, that may mean that you keep those 2 chairs full and open up another small shop and put 4 or 5 in it, or another 2, and close enough that you can manage and rent that space out to some other type of business, or develop it for different types of product sales. In other words, if you're thinking about growing a business, you got to think business. Is your leadership and risk management skills up to par? And do you really want to do it, or do you just want to talk about it? Do you really want to grow it? Do you really want to take on the extra responsibility and worry about if you're making the right decisions or not? Because that's what we'll do. If you're an entrepreneur, you do. So you got to kind of train your leadership in saying, I'm ready to make this turn. I'm at a turning point. It's like going down the interstate highway. We go past exit after exit, and sometimes we say, wonder if I need to turn off here. Or I don't worry about it. I'll go up to the next exit. Well, the next exit may be 50 miles up the road. In small business, we have to always keep our eyes open to where our turning points are and be willing to see that signal and go ahead and make the moves. That's why it's so important that you think about doing that now. So what are you going to do if you're at a turning point? It's time to take care of some business, right? First, have you got a computer? Or you don't try to run a business on your telephone? I want to tell you, you need a computer. A laptop will work. A desktop works better. A laptop, the combination is even best. But I'm going to tell you that if you've got an office space that you can set up a desktop with 2 monitors on it, you'll be able to get so much more work done in a shorter period of time. It's incredible, and not spend hardly any more money. Because you can buy desktops and with extra monitors fairly low cost in today's world compared to some expensive laptops. But have both if you can stand it. You won't regret it. But if you've got a computer where you can start doing your filing, your appointment schedules, building your customer base and your database so you can send out your emails and do your advertising, do some really good work on social media, then you're putting yourself in a position to be a business person and run your business like a business. I want you to establish a bank account for your business. And to do that, you're probably going to have to get an IEN number, employee identification number. You're probably going to need some license and permits. Of course, you're going to need your certifications from the different boards. And insurance is going to be required. And you're going to need some serious insurance if you're cutting on people's head and skin and hair, because there is a chance there that you'll have a liability issue with an accident or a mishap, and folks will sue you. Their lawyers are going to tell them to sue you. So you want to make sure you've protected yourself with some good liability insurance for your business. Well, we've done all that. I mean, heck, if I build it, they will come, right? Wrong. It don't work that way. You don't have to market it and invest, do some investing in your marketing if you want to grow your business. Now, some barbers are so good and have such a great local clientele, they never have to spend a penny on marketing and probably will do really well for the rest of their business life until they're ready to retire, saving a little bit of money as they go along, and that's a good life. But if you want to improve your heritage, your legacy, be first class in what you're doing instead of operating for the cheapest amount of money at the cheapest space with the lowest overhead possible, then that's your choice to make. But if you want to grow your business and encourage other people to come and be a part of it, encourage other people to come and buy these extra products that you've got for sale, you need a fresh look. You need a first-class look. So sometimes remodeling and lighting and putting up a new sign has everything to do with whether or not you can bring in new people who will want to rent those chairs from you. If you want 5 or 6 barbers or stylists working for you in the salon, they want to come into a nice place that they'll be very pleased and proud to invite their friends and family to come and see them and tell other people about it. And that new atmosphere, if properly marketed, will bring in an influx of new business, and that influx of new business will be buying all the new products that you're offering to sell because you're putting a lot of fresh bait in the water. It's called going for it, having the courage to go for it. So if you've got the backbone, the courage, the investment, and the willingness to give it a shot, maybe you're at a turning point. So how do you do it? Well, place yourself and your products in front of your customers. Energize and execute is where we are right now. Energize and execute. Introduce yourself. Demonstrate the excitement that you have for your business. Be out there on social media. Be out there on the side of the street. Be there with some signage. Take a predator attitude and saying, yes, I've got plenty of business, but I could have 10 times more business if all I got to do is open myself up, motivate myself and other people to say, come on, let's get in business together. Let's make this happen. So we always have to sell ourselves and follow up time after time. Be willing to hear what customers are telling us testimonial-wise, and add your history. Talk about your history and your individual person in your business journal and at your database, and you do that with your website, with your videos, and so many other things that you can do. I want to encourage you tonight to look at your handouts. These things that we've just covered, these numbers, you can take them, print it out, right beside each one of them to see how you can make it work for yourself. Sonia, I would say that this can be so very valuable for you to do your own, to start your budgeting thinking, to think about how much you'll be able to charge and what your specialty service is going to be. Everyone needs to have 2 or 3 things that they're better at than everyone else to create a good, loyal customer base that keeps coming back with you. I want you to be a very proud entrepreneur. It's a good thing to be. To know that you're out here facing the music, you're setting an example for other people. Young people will look up to you because they know you're taking risk and you got enough courage and self-confidence to go out here and to do this. I'm proud of you because I know what it takes, having done it for 63 years now. Every day you'll get some good feelings because you're in business for yourself. Every day you have to cross some hot sands from time to time. But indeed, the pleasures you can get with it are just incredible. So become that entrepreneur that you want to do and be proud of the fact that you're doing it. It starts with you believing in yourself with all your mind, imagining all that you can do, know that your heart is true, and try to achieve all that you can with all your might. That's what we do. The key is to let your light shine, and I want God to bless you and your family and your business as well. If you're letting your candle shine, showing people that you are trying to be the best person you can be, your business indeed will start growing a whole lot bigger and a whole lot better more often. So I want to say to you, all of you, good night. Hang with us just a little bit, and we'll have an open chat.